What's up, everyone? It's your boy Freezius Max, and today I'm bringing you my con highlight of the week. And so this week, I'm going to go talk a little bit about Sentius Malus. And the reason why I'm talking about him is because just in my conversations with players on the Line app and just even in Discord, a lot of the comments that I've been getting about Sentius have been somewhat negative, and I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of the combat bot pairings. And so I'm going to just work through some of that and just kind of highlight some of the things that I think he does well today. And I'm going to highlight just what pairings I think work better and which ones I think don't work as well. And so we'll get into that in a little bit. Before I do, want to go ahead and talk about some of the new things that I've got going on in my community. Last time I shared with you guys that I am going to, my Discord is up and running. And so if you go to the About section in this video, you can go ahead and join into my Discord server. And one of the things that I've been doing, one of the things I did earlier this week is as things kind of change, I got some new software that I'm going to use to mirror the game from my phone. And it's actually added a lot of clarity to the game itself. It looks really, really good. So you'll get to see that here in a little bit. But I'm going to start getting into the habit of doing more exclusives for the people that are on my server. So if you're subscribed to the channel and you do want to be a part of that server so you can be part of some of that exclusive content, then just go ahead, subscribe here, and also go to the About section to find my Discord server information so you can join us there and get into some of the conversations we're having, just as we've been talking a lot about tactics this week, help a couple of people with their team builds and so on and so forth. So I'm really looking forward to watching that community grow, and I'm really looking forward to putting more content out here on YouTube for me to share with all of you guys. A couple other things that's going on. I got a brand new studio set up, and so a lot of the little annoyances that I had previously, slowly starting to get a lot of that stuff fixed. And I've also got a graphics designer right now working on some of my intro and outro stuff. So more to follow with that soon. I've got a couple of clips that I've already sent to her, and we'll get that situated hopefully within the week. And so on the oncoming YouTube videos, then you'll start to be able to see that really crisp intro, because I got to see a couple of samples of her work earlier this week, and they look really good, and I'm really excited to see what she can do for my YouTube channel as well. So that's on the horizon as well. Before I get into Sentius Malus and how great I think he is, he's one of my favorite bots in the game, I do want to scroll over to the newsletter. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And just give me a second. I got to scroll back to the top of it. And here we go. So we are now at the end of the saga. And if you guys hadn't noticed already, one of the first things it's talking about, we got a new community manager working alongside Dale. And I'm probably going to butcher her name. I think it's Austria. But, real cool. Got to deal with her a little bit in the playtester community. Seems to really enjoy what she does. So as you look around through the Discord, you'll see her popping in, doing some of the same stuff that he does, because you know how we are as a player community. We ask Dale a lot of questions, and now we're gonna have more than one person to ask, and so that's fun, and it's always good to see Space 8 put more people on their team. And let's see what else. So this weekend's event, and we are going to looking at this event, it's going to be called Unusual Allies. And some of the stuff you can earn, they're going to have 100 Unusual Allies crystals. And so each one of those is going to contain a chance to win the new, for the Autobots, it's going to be Goldbug. For the Decepticon faction, it's going to be Shattered Glass Shockwave. And so the way it breaks down, you have the 4-star, the 3-star shards. You get opportunities for those, and you also could have 100 character shards, and then we're gonna have a lot of crystal shards as well. And one of the adjustments that the apes made to the event this week is they're gonna have 65 total spark crystals, and I'll walk you through how it got like that. Basically, a lot of players were leaving feedback that they were deficient in one area of spark. So some players didn't have combat spark. A lot of players, the majority of players that need a type of spark is for combat spark. And so they said, well, we're going to make it a chance event overall. We want to give you a chance to get whatever kind of spark it is you need, whether it be regular spark, whether it be combatant spark, or whether it be combat spark. So 65 of those, which I think is a good amount. And then you're also going to have 40 premium combat chips. So that's always good. I always look forward to anytime we're going to get anything regarding combats, because honestly, most of us are deficient in that area in terms of having combats and combat chips. So there's going to be 1G metal core chip, and there will be 2, the traditional G metal core chips, in addition to 10 gold chips on the weekend event. So 1,000,000 battle points total, and you can actually see the breakdown in the battle zone. So that's the typical battle zone breakdown, and in addition to a breakdown of the chart for the totalizer prizes. So overall, pretty good event. I'm excited for it, but the reason I'm most excited for it is because this week we are going to have our new bots introduced to the game. So like I already mentioned, for the Autobots, you've got Goldbug, and you can see a picture of him there. And then for our faction, the Decepticons, we're going to get Shattered Glass Shockwave. And so this whole Shattered Glass saga is pretty interesting, and it's a twist on just the different factions and how the Autobots are. It's really like a Bizarro world type thing for that. So you can see in the picture, Shattered Glass Shockwave has if you look at his arm, he's got the Autobot faction, but that's in this particular universe, then the Autobots are bad, and the Decepticons are the good guys. So that's what we're looking at for that. And then when you look down, you can actually see the special ability is called Cryo Shell. And so it basically, reading the tooltip for it, launch a Cryo Shell that chills enemies in a straight line for a short time, reducing their speed by 70%. If a chilled enemy is destroyed, it deals heavy damage to nearby enemies. And so I'll tell you now. So right now we get this bot in play testing, and been playing around with some of the values in terms of what the special abilities range is going to be, what the special ability duration and everything is going to be. It's been a little bit of back and forth conversation about that. One thing I can say, based off of everything that I've seen so far, is that this is an extremely valuable bot. I think this is, depending on what the final result ends up being with Space Ape and how they want to deal with the point values for the special ability and the range of the special ability, I'm saying that this is probably going to be a meta bot, in my opinion, and it's particularly with how you match him up with other bots. I do plan on doing a video about Shattered Glass Shockwave on Friday after he is released to us by Space Ape. And let's see, game updates and information. And so the new war effects have been discussed. We tested them for the last couple of weeks. And so one of the big things that's going to be really interesting is they're going to have what they call dynamic effects. And so all that is that each one of your different variations of the multi-defense system, or the MDS, are going to have a different effect. And so I was really excited about it. I had a really, really good time in war testing with these effects. And so we'll just go through what some of those look like. So for Prime League Hard Mode, the MDS Plant Plasma Cannon is going to have a Sharkticon spawn point. And so it says ×2 for level 40 Sharkticons per defense destroyed. And so most players in the playtesting community, that's the part that they were saying, hey man, like this is legit. Like this is a really difficult but fun MDS effect. And then for the laser gun on MDS, defenses, exploding defenses, and I know most players already have a difficult time when it comes to the exploding defenses. It says 5 times their DPS upon death. So anytime you get the laser gun equipped, that's what that's going to cause, is the exploding buildings. And then for the minigun, build bots are going to have additional ability resistance, as we've talked about a couple of times on my channel. The build bots are becoming a little bit more relevant, especially after the addition of the range for the force field disruptor, and then in addition to that, you know, the anti hacking that have become a little bit more popular as well. In addition to hard mode having those MDS effects, you're going to have plus 20% health points and plus 40% DPS for all defenses. And then just the regular Prime League effects, 50% extra HP to walls. And so I feel like that one actually comes at a good time, because for most of us, if you go through your Titan Tech tree, they also have an effect in there that allows you to increase your walls as well. And I've been saying it for a while. I think walls are going to start to become a little bit more relevant. This is the reason why I was really excited for the release of Singe. You know, was it the week before last, I believe it was. I was really excited for that because I got the feeling just from talking to the Space Ape and from talking to my playtesters that walls were going to become more relevant. And so as a result of that, you're going to have 50% extra in Prime League for the walls. So if you are one of those players playing in Prime League, I think now is the time to go ahead and start adjusting your bases, because this thing goes live, I believe it's tomorrow. Another Prime League effect, 50% range for cannons, mortars, and laser turrets. So that's always a challenge when you have that extended range. And then build bots slow enemies down by 40% in a large radius. And so, like I said, build bots are becoming relevant. So realistically, when you do your MDS, the MDS thing, one huge part of that is they don't stack, and so that it benefits you to use 2 different types of MDS on your Prime League wars. Alright, so they're saying they got a new shattered glass wallpaper. So in the picture they got up there, looks pretty dope. I like it. And you know, it's something new to the game that they're going to be adding. So I think as we get more bots, I think it's going to become even more exciting. Community corner, and let me take a look at some of this artwork. Alright, Don Juan there has a good pencil drawing. Alright, we got Starscream out there at the beach with Skywarp. So yeah, got some pretty decent artwork this week. That's pretty cool. And then we look at the Saga schedule. And this week is the last week of the Saga, so usually that typically comes with new bots. 1 million point event this week, as I mentioned, so not too difficult for a lot of alliances, but I really just am excited about getting all those additional chance to what I consider to be a really good bot in SG Shockwave. So that's what we're looking at for this week. And then we'll take a look at the bug fixes. So for Metroplex and Triptychon, it says the team has discovered that the default range attacks of the Titan laser were causing too much damage. And so what a lot of times what people were doing, because players are starting to just try to like drop 1 bot or maybe 2 bots and just let the Titan just attack the back half of the base towards the HQ. And so to eliminate that, one of the things they did was reduce the damage. I mean, and it did look like, there was a couple of videos that I saw in the playtester circle where it looked like that laser was doing double damage, or at least more damage than was actually written on the tooltip. So that's been corrected. And a lot of players have been complaining about fixes that needed to take place, or bugs with the Inspire, the Shield Spire ability. And so that's in work as we speak. And that is it for the newsletter. let me replug in my camera because for some reason it has shut down. Alright, well, I'll tell you what, I'll just go to the game screen. Alright, so this is what my new mirroring software is going to look like. And you can see I got a little bit more clarity in regards to the camera itself. And I'm really excited about it. I mean, this looks much better than anything I had put out there previously. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a couple of turns here with Sentius Malus. And what I think I'll end up doing is I'll do this. I'll kind of highlight some of the things that I think he does well. So one thing I want to point out is when I look at my war team that I built, or this is my primary set, I have different variations that I use of this. But one thing that I've been talking to players about and regarding the meta is a lot of times what folks think is that if you get a bot and you get a new bot that's got similar abilities, that they don't like to use the old version of the bot. And I'm here to tell you, me personally, I still use the old bot. Like, I invested a lot in that bot. Like, you can see my Sentius Malus that I have here, that I've invested in quite heavily. And like I said, I've got him maxed out 65 at his level and ability 11 for his siege mode special ability. Even my power core I got maxed out. Amalgamus, excuse me. I got tongue tied for a second. My Amalgamus Prime power core, I got that maxed out as well. And I'm trying to get a little bit more combat spark for Vertebrake just because I want to go carry him to level 10. That's my choice, a combat bot to put on Sentius Malus. Just because. So let me go back for a second because I like to take a look at the DPS and the health. And so when I look at the damage, so Malus is kind of a tanky bot, but he's a tanky bot that's got pretty good damage. So right here I got him at 478.3 for my version. And the thing I like about him is I like the rate of fire that he puts out when I'm out here going after the Autobots. And I also like that he has really solid health. So in this case, I've got him at 26,288. So a really durable bot and a really decent attacking bot. And the reason why I like to use Vertebrake is because I like to use the Saga strategy a lot still, even with the motion sensing mines that you've heard me talk about several times. One of the things that I like to do is force Sentius into one-on-one situations, particularly when I'm getting into a battle that has Chromia is one of the bots, because Vertebrake, now granted it takes him a couple of seconds to come out. It takes about 3 seconds for her to come out. And when she does, you have that immunity to hacking and EMP. So it's really good for if you want to do one-on-ones with Chromia, if you want to do one-on-ones with Cosmos, then having this bot attached helps you out. But the reason why I went with Sentius Malus, well, there's a couple of reasons that I'll talk about. And here I use Vertebrake because, so explosion every 3 seconds, right? That's a high rate of DPS. So say I am on a Saga strategy and say that I do successfully get all of those bots popped, then what I'm going to do is once I get those bots popped, then I'm going to try to intentionally draw them down to the bottom of the battlefield. And the way that I do that is I go take, you guys probably seen this one a couple of times too, that I've got that Vector Prime core on Ramjet. So at level 15, 9.5 seconds is the time period. So whenever Ramjet dies, he comes back to the spot that he was 9.5 seconds ago, which for me is typically going to be near the bottom of the screen. And so the bots will come back down to that spot. I've got catgut on them, and so catgut is going to still be there even if he dies, Ramjet dies that second time. And so the bots will continue, the outpost bots, continue to pursue anybody that's down there at the bottom of that screen. So I run him solo, and then I bring Malus out solo. And so if one of those outpost bots is Chromia, if one of those outpost bots is Cosmos, by the time Vertebrate does her thing, those outpost bots aren't really much of a factor. Alright, so let's take a look at these guys in action. One of the things that I was talking about is when you have similar bots, I like to try to use them together. And so one of the things you'll see, I'll actually run a war attempt real quick. Actually, let me scout first. But one of the things that I like to use is bots that have similar abilities. So there's a lot of argument that can be made that will just, and I even said this myself when I opened my 5-star and I got Impactor doing my 5-star video recently, that I might replace Malus. But what I decided to do for a lot of my bots, if they got similar abilities, is actually use them together. And they're both pretty tanky bots. And personally, I like to use like a lot of times like bots like that have like real high health. I like to use them, at least 3 of them. In this particular case, my solo bot's also technically a warrior class. So then I've got 2 warriors and 2 tanky special class bots. And so what you want to do in a lot of cases is you want to have bots in the background that are going to be ranged bots. So I'm going to go ahead and make a war attempt, and you can kind of see Malus in action and how I use him with the sack strategy. Alright, so that doesn't look to be too bad. That should be something that I can actually work with. So I'm going to go ahead and try to use my sack team on this commander base. So yeah, I just really had a good time with Malus. Malus is one of those bots that I actually use. The reason why I have him leveled so high is because he was my primary solo bot for a lot of my events. And the thing is, I like using him as a solo bot, particularly because as a solo bot, I don't have to go use a goon core or anything on him. So, alright, well, they got a pretty good Titan there. They got a level 12, so I gotta be careful. Alright. So here, I'm just gonna use Ramjet to get the outpost bots popped. And that'll only take me 2 turns with him. You got Overlord popping out of there. Now I'm just gonna let the fire damage do its thing for a little bit. And so this is the point where I try to bring Malus out, and he let him shoot his arrows, and Vertebrate pops out in a little bit. So this is what I was talking about, because what's going to happen is the rest of these outpost bots are going to start popping out, and I can drop everybody back in behind Malus. Now Impactor is kind of similar, so one of the things that I can do is you alternate the abilities. And this is why I like to have bots with similar abilities, because what happens is you can alternate them and conserve some of your ability points, which is really useful, because I mean everybody needs to conserve ability points, excuse me. Alright, I'm trying to get in range to go target this MDS, but I'm just outside of range, and now I got it. Ooh, Metro and Triptychon killed each other. I wasn't expecting that. I'll take it because I was outmatched by a little bit. I'm 11 on my special ability. I mean, not special ability, but on my Triptychon level. And I'm taking a lot of fire, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in Overlord. Try to see if I can clean some of this stuff up a little bit. So yeah, I'm just going to try to clean up as much stuff as I can. Get me a couple of mines and build bots out of the way. And just make sure that I get some additional bonuses for my bots. But yeah, so overall, especially with the Amalgamous core, you can see that health on Sentius is staying up pretty high. A lot of people will say, hey, I got the 5-star for Impactor, to just go ahead and use Amalgamous on that. I did that for a little bit, but I know because with the pairing with Vertebrake and everything, that I was more likely to start out with Sentius, so that's what I use. Alright, let me bring Tantrum back to soak up any remaining damage from the defenses. And I think that this one, even though I'm a little cutting it closer than I like to cut on time, I do realize that this team is a little bit slower than some other teams. So let me try to get that build bot down and see if I can get the HQ down on time. 40 seconds should be good enough. That should be good enough for me to bring it down. But that's just really cutting it a lot closer than I like to cut it. Got him. So alright, so I'm in Caminus right now. the last tier of Caminus, so I'm 225 on the day. But either way, Malus is a really good bot. You saw how his health pretty much stayed high the whole time, as long as you kind of manage. I like the fact that when you use this special ability and you use a core like Amalgamous, then that also will keep your already high health at a very stable level. So that's one of those things that is very advantageous as you go forward throughout your play. My camera is still acting up, so I'll have to sort that out. And they got a little bit of background noise back there. Got right next to an airport, so sometimes the planes just come flying by, not bothering me too badly though. So let's check this out, because one of the things that I like to look at is the ability of a bot to solo. And so I'll go ahead and I'll bring Malus back up. Let's see, I'll bring one other bot. Who do I want to bring in there with them? So actually, you know what I'll do? I'll bring Impactor in there, just so I can kind of show what I was talking about in regards to using bots with similar abilities and how you get a chance to alternate. And so I'll just try in zone 13 just to start out. So I won't solo him this time. I'll actually use him in tandem with Impactor. And in this particular case, this base put every last one of their of their outpost at the very front. So let me see what I can do with that. I'm just going to skate around the back. I'm not even going to try to acknowledge that. And I'll probably run into them eventually anyway. But one of the things that I always try to look for when I come to these corners like that is to try to path my way up the side for Malus. But he's still going to head down that way anyway, just because they got the little modified honeycomb there, which is still not a problem for me. You know, you can see I popped 2 outpost bots. Swoop's doing this thing. Malus doesn't really care, man. Like, Malus is using his ability to keep him healthy. And then there goes his brother popping out of there, Magnus. And so right now I'm just kind of taking it easy. Obviously, this battle's under control, but I'll go ahead and bring out Impactor. And he's got the Alchemist Core. And now, because I let Malus take such a beating, he did actually lose some health. And so I'll just use him at the same time. Now we've got both of these guys just kind of ripping the bottom half of this base apart. And you can see Malus starting to recover himself as long as he stays in his alternate mode. And as these ability points start costing more, you'll see me use Impactor a little bit more, just for the simple fact that I've already run Malus a couple of times. So yeah, so I like it. I think that he's a good solid bot to use really in any team, man. Like, I use him on my war team, I use him on my raid team, I use him for literally anything you can think of in the game. And like I said, I just bought Impactor along just as a buddy to kind of hang out with him and just show how they had the similar abilities. And give him a little bit of XP, man. You know, like I said, he's my newest 5-star, and so he can use all the XP he can get. Alright. So this time, I'll try running him by himself and see how that looks. What I'll actually do, let me use Reflector, because this time I want to try to actually take him in zone 14. This is zone 14. Usually for him, it can become a little bit more challenging. So a lot of times in events, I'll run 13. I just don't like to go take the risk of losing that, and I don't have my Titan with me in events. So a lot of times, just to play it safe, I might do 13. But this one looks like it's reasonable. So what I'll do, I'll bring Reflector just in case. Sometimes that also helps his health, and it helps me conserve his ability a little bit, not use it as much, just due to having the power core that I got, Amalgamous. But either way, I mean, you can see that he's tearing up huge sections of the base. One thing I like too, if you're looking at him going after this wall, that every 3 seconds having Vertebrate provide that extra boost is also really good for your wall damage and helping you get through that as well a little bit quicker than you would. So I know it's always a lot of talk about trying to make sure that the combat bots that you have on your team can shoot over walls. Sometimes you're just gonna have to go through walls as well, and because Malus has that good range on his ability, then you can just use that as a way to get through walls as well. as he just makes his way up to the top, I'm going to keep using my Death Ray on my Titan to try to expedite this process a little bit. And Malus is got 40 ability points on him right now. So a good bot that you can use to solo on zone 14. And as you can see, this HQ is coming down. You know, and that's how good he is as far as soloing. So let's see what else. So I'll show you some of the concerns, and hopefully I can duplicate it on this video. But one of the concerns that people were having was with the combat bots. And so one negative thing that I can say about Malus is a lot of people were concerned about the fact that he will just run into walls. And the observation that I've made is that this is how I originally had him loaded up. I originally had him paired with Catgut. And what I've noticed, you know, one of the things for Catgut is look at the damage on this thing, man. And it's really hard to pass up. It really is, because you can see that the damage increased up to 583.6 on Malus with Catgut. You know, I got him at level 10. Now I actually switched Catgut to Ramjet. Just because with him having high damage as well. But I switched him primarily because I was just like, man, this dude's gonna keep running into walls. So I didn't want to run that risk of him just running into walls constantly. Alright, go back into zone 14. And let's see if he actually runs into walls this time. Because, I mean, it's one of those things that I feel like it's a bug that needs to be fixed. It hasn't been. I mean, I think at this point everybody knows that he does this. But I don't think that there's been any attempt on the behalf of Space Ape to try to address it and try to correct, you know, the whole thing with Malus running into walls. So same thing, this time I got a little bit of help. I got Reflector with me to try to keep the health up. Not that he really needs much help of that with his power core, but I want to try to see, in this particular layout, he might not do it. He might not bump into the walls too much. But I did notice that that's a pattern that happens while you're using really any sword, because you know, any sword or any axe. So like pterodactyl, excuse me. You know, that's one of those that he has a tendency to run into walls. Like I already mentioned, Catgut, he has a tendency to run into walls while Catgut is equipped also. And I just really just that turns a lot of players off. A lot of players are just like, look, man, this dude's he's just standing there running into the wall. And because I rely heavily on him for path, and obviously that's a bad thing because the rest of the team typically will pass him by instead of just allowing him to stay in the front of that pack and absorb some of that damage for the rest of the team. And part of his special ability is, you know, he has a resistance to damage as well. So as long as he's in that alternate mode. But if he's running into a wall the entire time, obviously that's not going to be helpful. But I do miss having Catgut on him, just because, dude, that's a lot more damage, man. I really like it. But he you know, he's good. He's good regardless. This is one of the things I was talking about also, because now you see I'm coming down there on like the 50-second mark. Sometimes if you're using him solo, it does take him some time to bring everything down by itself. It's not like one of these other solo bots. It's not like, hey man, I'm using Dead End and he's gonna just go straight to the HQ or anything like that. But Nah, it looks like I made it anyway. But that's just, for me, when I get into that 30-second mark, that's a little bit too close for comfort. Especially because, say you're not a HQ 17, say you're a HQ 16, and those extra 10 seconds that I just took could be the difference between you winning and losing. So that's another negative. But overall, man, this is a really powerful bot. I like him. I use him. I use him every chance that I get. And so that's why I give him my con highlight of the week this week. So, like I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But like I mentioned, look for me to drop something on Friday. I really, really would like to have the opportunity to talk to you guys about SG Shockwave and show you the wonderful things that he can do on the battlefield. And so that'll be my next video. I'm not sure what time I'm going to do that yet. It just really depends on really, because I'm still working from home remotely, so it really depends on how my work day is going. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, go to my About section. It's going to have all my social media links, but particularly I want to focus on getting people into my Discord community. And I want to give a couple of shout outs real quick before I sign off. So I want to give a shout out to Rez. She was really helpful in helping me set everything up, and just I wanted to get a second set of eyes to make sure that I had everything set up correctly, and she was really, really helpful in that. And she's also been one of my top contributors on my page, so she actually earned the top contributor. It's not a badge, but like, how like on Discord, on the Transformers Earth Worlds Discord, we change colors for different stuff. So I gave her top contributor on there, along with a couple other people that just been really helpful in talking to players and everything. But I said I do want to get that community a little bit more filled up, and as we do, that'll be one of the ways that I can go deliver more exclusive directly to my Discord community. There'll be some links that I'll just leave private, and I'll only share with them, kind of as a sign of thanks for your support and everything like that. So if you're not on there, please join, and I'll look forward to doing more of those type of things throughout the week. But other than that, look for me to send something out on Friday about this Shattered Glass Shockwave. And other than that, I'll see you on the battlefield. Freezy is out.